adding up. I know I'm extra suspicious, but while she's talking, I'm seeing that diamond necklace on her thing, and I'm like, give me that. That has to go to the damn orphans. You don't get this. You don't get this, Erika. Anyway, what's up, and welcome to my review for Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 11, Episode 1. For all of you guys that were complaining about Thermi making a guest appearance, it is a toasty 80 degrees in my house. Yes, summer is here. All right, everybody say hi to Thermi. Now, let me just get you guys closer. Let's get into the review. What is going on? Listen, the ladies are back. Well, I was watching this episode, and you guys know I watch these episodes like real. We're about to get into the review, but let me just give it. I watch these episodes real time so you can get reactions, right? From the opening scene when Rinna walks into Kyle's house, even the way the light works, looks, the camera angles. Kyle's sitting there talking about she broke her nose, but why she was in there. She told him to fix the nose. Girl, he gave you a whole facelift and the nose. What are you talking about? Why are you making excuses, Kyle? But you know Kyle's Kyle, right? Everything just looks so much better quality than Real Housewives of Atlanta. There is production. Even when they showed the preview of what's to come, they're going on real trips. The Real Housewives of Atlanta, even when you look at Bolo and South Carolina with Kenya, everything just looks so dark and, dare I say, dirty. It looked like it was being filmed at a production crew, but maybe they had different rules because it's California. I don't know. Let's get into this review. So it starts off with Rinna and Kyle, Lisa, Rinna, and Kyle there. Now, as you know, Kyle's a Capricorn. Lisa Rinna is a Cancer. Cancers and Capricorns actually get along really, really well, right? So she is in their glory. They're talking, they're chit-chatting. It's good, right? One thing you can count on Cancers to do is to keep a good vibe going, right? Then we go on to Dorit. Again, the production's so great. We find Dorit and Erika. Erika gets in looking like she's about to leave with the scarf tied around, leave from like a bank heist. I know that's the look this year. But it still looks a bit funny to me seeing Erika looking like she's escaping. And she gets in and she's talking to Dorit. And she's like, I've never been in a McLaren. And Dorit was like, are you serious? You? So anyway, they're driving. And Erika is like, you know how every rich person, whenever they fall in hard times, they're like, it's times like these that remember what life is really about, And, Dorit, absolutely, it's the experiences, So they're talking their rich girl stuff, right? About how life is all about the experiences in a damn McLaren with the Hermes or whatever bag, and both of them wearing more than than's been in my bank account in the last year on their bodies and on their purses. Like, girls, whatever, but it's Beverly Hills, you gotta love it. So those of you guys that don't know, Dorit is a Cancer and Erika is also a Cancer too. So you know how it is when two Cancers are vibing, gitchy. They are in their element, right? Okay, so next we go over to Garcelle's house, right? Garcelle is there with Sutton. You can tell they're going to be fast friends. They have a natural camaraderie. And to tell you the truth, Sutton is a Virgo. Garcelle is a Sagittarius. Virgos and Sag, low-key, when the Virgos have fire placements or air placement, really get along. So you can tell. But also, between a Sag and a Virgo, maybe in a world where you have access to more signs, they wouldn't naturally gravitate. But when I tell you Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is drowning in water, almost the whole cast is a Cancer, and whoever isn't a Cancer is married to a Cancer, right? So it's a little crazy, right? So Garcelle, being that fire, is looking for anything to get away from all that water. It's nonsensical for her. And Sutton is that Virgo, earth, solid ground, so she is running. Her girl Denise, Aqua, right? And you know Sagittarius and Aquas are like this. Her girl Denise isn't there. So she's crawling to that stable ground that the Virgo gives her. Even though, interestingly enough, Sutton says that Denise won't return her calls, I wonder what's behind that or if that's going to come up later. But who knows? Then we go back to Kyle's place. Mauricio comes in. They show pictures of him with the mohawk, right? Everybody's laughing. They're having drinks. Mauricio's going to grill. And Dorit is like, listen, I have this great idea. Why don't we have kind of like a dress up at my house. It can be like an award show because I'm tired of being in the house. Listen, this is rich chick shit. And I wonder why the Real Housewives of Atlanta could not get this treatment, especially considering they're the most successful things. You know, when I was watching Beverly Hills, I was like, yo, the energy's there. You guys have to watch this season. This season is going to be good. Shout out to Morgan, who literally asked me to review this. And I was like, girl, I don't know. Because, you know, last time I reviewed Ready for Love, that shit is still sitting there. Watch the Ready for Love. It's actually a good review. But shout out to Morgan because, yo, I'm excited. This season reminds me of old school housewives. The opulence, the fun, the beautiful camera angles. You know, the lightheartedness, even though there's stuff going on. Beverly Hills is back. And when I was watching it, I was just getting so mad about Atlanta. Yo, Bravo did Atlanta dirty. I don't know. The more and more I see, the more I'm like, maybe there is something in Needy's lawsuit. I know nobody wants to hear it, but so come on, production. The next place, listen, Kyle's a Capricorn, if you guys don't know. Sutton, right, the Virgo, moved into the Capricorn's house. She moved into Kyle's old house. Because Sutton sold her house for almost $8 million. Her new house is like almost $6 million, but it needs a complete facelift. So she's crashing at Kyle's. Kyle gave her the friends and family discount. She was renting it out for $25,000. She lets her to rent it for $20,000. Kyle is a Capricorn. She does not leave a dollar on the table. I know that's right, Cal. Get every dollar you can, but true to her Capricorn farm, she is not leaving a dollar on the table. They do a montage of the kids growing up. You see all the stuff. Yo, even like when her kids come, Kyle's like, hey, Mamacita, right? And I'm the only one that remembers that Mauricio is not Latino. Mauricio is Russian. Yeah. And Kyle keeps trying to like make it seem like, yeah, my Latin lover husband, because you could tell she wants a Latin lover husband, but it's like Mauricio is Russian. So instead of being like, hey, Mamacita, you're going to be like, da, comrade, good to see you. Okay, anyway, we go to Dorit's house. Dorit, I forgot to say from the last scene, she can dress her butt off. When she first came on, I thought her and Erika Jane were neck and neck. I actually thought Erika was a better dresser. But as time evolved, Erika became more costumey, and Dorit has that great everyday street style, but she steps up. Dorit is just, she gets 10 out of 10 on street, on costume, on dressing up, on theme, and Erika's more like theme costume, but Dorit is dressing her butt off. The fashions alone are just really, really good. And honestly, out of quarantine, I'm so happy. You can tell I'm gassed. I'm so happy to be seeing glamour. Yo, Real Housewives in Atlanta was done dirty. Anyway, we're at Dorit's house. She has these really pretty PJs on. Did she redecorate? Her house is so cute. She has her kids. She's talking about, you know, this year was actually really easy for us, you know. The kids, even though the kids had to stay home and go to school, it was really good. And I'm like, wow, Dorit really like got into family time, and she's homeschooling the kids until you hear this woman's voice talking and you're like, oh, the kids have a private nanny, because that's what the rich people do, right? She has a teacher actually coming to her kids. So of course life is good. So her kids are still out of the way for most of the day. Come on with this rich chick feel, all right? Then we go over to the scene everybody was talking about. Garcelle goes to meet with Rinna, because if you don't remember, Rinna did Denise so dirty last season. She literally threw away a friendship of how many years for a storyline, but maybe she was never really friends. So they walk in, and Rinna's on her Kris Jenner, hi, hon, you look beautiful. Oh my God, this and that. How good. They say all the fake niceties. Garcelle sits down and she's like, so. And Rinna starts off, you know, I just want to tell you, I really care about you. I really do this. I really do that. I was wrong, you know. Hurt people, hurt people. She's literally repeating every idiom anybody's ever read in a self-help book or in therapy. Hurt people, but just know. So then Garcelle is just like, so yeah, why can't you be there for Denise? I'm just confused. Explain why this couldn't happen. And Rinna's like, oh, well, you know, she's making all these excuses. She was like, you've known Denise for so long, Rinna, right? And Rinna's just like going into that Cancer playbook of trying, because she keeps trying to connect with Garcelle emotionally. But the thing is, all the other girls are Cancers except for Kyle's a Capricorn, right? And she's trying to hit all these emotional buttons, But Garcelle is a Sag, and she wants that fire. You cannot hit an emotional note with Saggies when they want to find out information. Do you know what I'm saying? The only emotion you can hit is maybe anger off the bat, offense, self-righteous anger. But to be trying to get those Cancer emotional connections, nah, Rinna, you're barking up the wrong tree. You really, honestly are. Which makes me believe that Denise thought she was good friends with Rinna, but I don't think Rinna actually saw Denise as a good friend, partly because Denise is an Aqua, and Aqua and Cancers do not normally. Do you see? And also, this is why Garcelle, with the ladies, right? Saggies are really, really direct. They respect the truth. And if you can't take the truth, that's your own fault. You need to figure something out. Cancers don't like direct stuff. They don't like direct acknowledgement of their faith. They love living sideways. You know, you see a crab on the set and they scurry sideways. That's what Cancers do. So Garcelle is kind of shaking things up, right? But there's also another layer on top of that. There's a cultural layer, right? Growing up in California, there is a very superficial aspect of California that everybody always talks about. It is not everywhere, but it does exist. And if you've ever spent time in California, you know the fake California niceties where everybody's super nice to you, but it's very hard sometimes to make really, really good friends, but everybody's really, really nice, right? On the East Coast, people will test you, and once you curse you out, they'll be friends with you for life. California, people will talk, people do this, they'll do that, but then you're like, oh, what are you doing after work? People are like, oh, I'm going out with my friends and my family. So it's very nice on the surface, but it's hard to make deep connections. Garcelle is a Black woman, and she's also Caribbean, Haitian, right? Black culture, Haitian culture, very, very loyal to her friends. And I'm not trying to say that white culture isn't, but that Beverly Hills kind of fake friend culture, they're not used to being loyal. Put it like this, Portia Williams, the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and what she did to Phelan would be very at home in Beverly Hills, and it really wouldn't be, it would be gossiped about, but it wouldn't be frowned upon the way it is in certain circles. So you have Garcelle that comes from two cultures, right? Identifying as a Black woman, but also that Haitian American, that loyalty where you don't treat your friends like that. You write out for your friends, right? We have to stick together. Coming up against that Beverly Hills culture of fake friends, there are no real friends. You know, your friend can come over on Tuesday and do a Kris Jenner and have your man by Wednesday, and everybody just has to go along with it. That's what they do. It's musical chairs, right? But Garcelle is actually really interesting too, because as a Saggy, she has that strength and that inner knowledge that she can navigate both worlds very, very easily. However, her natural resting state is like, where is your loyalty? Again, I gotta love Garcelle the way she just came at it heads on, but she's been in the game long enough. She knows not to break any china. Just, you know how it's bulls in the china shop sometimes with Saggies, Aries, fire signs. She's been there long enough to know, and maybe it's her natural inclination not to break any china, but to come and be like, what's up? Why did you do that? So anyway, she asked her, why couldn't you? The Cancer keeps, you know, Lisa keeps trying to poke, getting an emotional thing. Garcelle comes at her even more aggressive, not aggressively, because she wasn't aggressive, right? But she comes at her even more directly. The thing is, with water signs, especially Cancers, they look at direction as aggressive-ness. Lisa Rinna, I know Cancers, she left that meeting pissed. She left that meeting pissed, and mark my words, she is going to spend the rest of the season trying to get Garcelle back for not letting her get away with her little Cancer thing. Mark my words, Lisa Rinna, she smiled, she did whatever. She left that meeting pissed. However, Garcelle being a Saggy, she was like, Ann, I really don't care how you have to feel. But they did say, you know, she laughed out loud at her saying she was trying to protect Denise. It was all bullshit. You see flashbacks of how bad she treated Denise. And I remember thinking like, yeah. So then she said, listen, I want to connect with you, Garcelle. And Garcelle was like, being a Sag, I'll tread lightly, but I'm open to it. Because Garcelle being a Sag, they are always so direct. She was thinking, better have more friends than enemies. I'm open to it, but I'm watching you. I do gotta love how open Saggies are and how honest they are about the way they come at you. I love Saggies. They do not do the passive aggressive stuff. So let's get into the rest. Next, we go over to Erika Jane's house. Erika's sitting there saying, you know, in COVID, we're so bored. There's only so many times we can decorate. Sorry, my lips are dry. This, that, and the third. And this is something interesting about Erika's house, because of course it's big. Her closets are unbelievable. Like, she has like a better wardrobe than any Neiman Marcus, Saks, or whatever all thrown together. I always used to wonder, how does Tom have so much money? I know he's a super successful lawyer, but with the private jets and the clothes and stuff, he lives like a billionaire. And Erika bought and lived like a billionaire. So I remember that season where they went to China, I think, Shanghai, and she had on Gucci straight up, the athleisure line, straight off the runway before it was even available in the store. You know how much she spent on that. And I was like, she really does live like a billionaire's life. But I was like, maybe he has tech money or something. But now we know where Tom got all his money. Allegedly from widows and old people and robbing the state of California blind, so he can go and fake Alzheimer's and get away with all the money offshore. I was feeling sorry for Erika when I knew that right now, just to let you guys know what's going on right now, she's getting a lot of stuff. The courts put an injunction, and they're actually seizing her assets because they think and they're investigating her. They think that Erika's actually hid assets for her husband, and the reason she filed was divorce was for that transfer of assets. But I looked around at everything that Erika had, and where before I was like, oh wow, I was just like, yeah, all that came from exploiting somebody that really needed money. Disabled people, children, burn victims, cancer victims, old ladies. I mean, I hate to be a killjoy. Her house is beautiful, but I can't look at her stuff anymore, because even if you didn't know, all that shit needs to go to auction and go to the people thing. There needs to be some type of equality, because honestly, if she was like a drug dealer's girlfriend off of the street, right? And they go and they make the bust, everything she has is being taken away just like that. So if it's good for somebody that's on the block trapping for like, I don't know how much they make, $500, $1,000 a day. Do they make that much? It doesn't matter. If it's on the thing, just somebody on the corner trapping, and you would throw their girlfriend or wife in jail and confiscate everything that was bought with even $1 of drug money, why is Erika still walking around that mansion? Now, I understand that it's early on and the charges hadn't been filed, but Tom knew it was coming. Tom knew it was coming. And honestly, the way Erika answered the questions, like, oh no, Tom's waiting for business, it just gave me real, like, you know something's in the mist, and even if you don't know, it's not yours. Anyway, then we go over, Erika, by the way, is a Cancer. So you know she's going to defend, but you know her home and her possessions are also very dear to her. Then we go into Dorit. Dorit comes in so cute. Garcelle's stylist and her makeup artist, they didn't skimp. Maybe because filming started later than the quarantine and they had safety measures set up. I still don't understand what is the big discrepancy between how Atlanta looks so dirty and musty and just low production value, not even with cameras, but what they put into producing the story. There was no joy. And the producers seemed to revel in the fact that there was no joy. Do you know what I'm saying? They didn't even try to be like, y'all, put some smiles on your faces. Portia, can you smile? Come on, action. They reveled in that negativity. It was weird. Portia took that. Anyway, let me not talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta. Dorit came in, Garcelle came out dressed in Chanel. She had the Chanel barrettes, the Chanel cardigan. She was given rich chick tease, right? Beverly Hills, like it should have. Now this is, she can rock with Dorit, even though Dorit is a Cancer. I swear, I think Dorit has a lot of fire in her sign. They definitely mailed. I'm gonna look up Dorit's whole chart. They're talking about, she comes down the stairs, she's showing around the house. She makes that crack about like, there's two goldfish, and she's like, this is the Dorit fish, it's super casual, fabulous. And this is the Kyle fish, it's ordinary. Yeah. That Saggy is coming for Kyle, and she's not going to stop. I can't wait to see these fireworks actually go off. It's going to be so good, because I feel like it's old classic Housewives where it's lighthearted tea. You know, we engage and then we disengage. We engage and then disengage over and over and over, while we're looking at beautiful things that we don't have, right? Beautiful things that we don't have. And then we go on to Kyle. They're looking at Kyle's new nose. Kyle, just say you wanted to have it. She's like, no, it was broken. I told the doctor. She had a nose and she had a few other things tightened. Goody, 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 goody. Okay, so they're on their way to meet Christine. She's the new house member. We'll get to her in a second. But you know what? Garcelle did have an interesting conversation about how, Rinna was like, oh, I met with Garcelle because Kyle said she wants to clear the air. Good luck with that, because when the Saggy is not done with you, they're not done, right? And Rinna was like, oh, I had a conversation and it went great. She's just trying to make Kyle jealous. That did not go. And Rinna is, I don't care what y'all say, Rinna's going to try to get Garcelle back for that. Anyway, Garcelle's like, I just don't trust her. And Dorit was like, absolutely. But she said she didn't really trust, she said she trusted her, but it took a moment on the pause for her to actually say that she trusted Rinna. Listen, Garcelle must have tested really good because they're all acting like she is here to stay and they're all acting like she is the new queen bee. Or maybe it's because production is finally doing what it is and it's like, yo, you better figure out a way to fix it. You better figure out a way to at least smooth things over so that if we are in a group thing, it's going to be light and it's going to be easy because we need to get these scenes. So go ahead and fix it, which is what you want production to do. Because if not, what is production for if it's just letting cast members run amok and do what they want to do? You already control the storyline. At least give us the energy that we need. Are they paid actors? No. Are they talent that should come and give a certain vibe? Absolutely. And since they are not paid actors, nobody should have a star or a diva thing. So I really enjoy. This is the last time I talk about how much I enjoy, but I really enjoy it. Okay, so let's move on to Crystal. So they go over to Crystal's house. Crystal's house is on an acre, right? It does look like Narnia a little bit in there. So I get what she's saying, but she's like, this is a grown-up house and I'm a child at heart. However, her husband, Crystal's 5'10", right? So already Kyle's doing her little kind of like, Kyle, when she's intimidated by someone, it's just like looking for a flaw. That Capricorn, she's looking for where she beats them. That's the one thing I can always see about Kyle with that Capricorn thing. When she looks at people she's intimidated by, she's chronicling to be like, okay, so you might be 5'10", but is that your real face? Okay, that's your real face. But do you do this? Do you do that? I see where I win. And not until she figures out where she feels like she pulls ahead in any certain thing, she just has to pull ahead in one category, then she relaxes around you. However, with Crystal, she couldn't pull ahead. Crystal has a boy, her firstborn, and a daughter. Kyle was saying that she wanted a kid. She wanted a boy, but she was done. They both acknowledge that they're type A. I do like the way Crystal is bringing her culture to the screen, where she's talking about it in funny anecdotes about the way like she did the Chinese medicine thing so she could increase her chances of having a boy. She wanted to wait till 8 o'clock. And she was actually telling me stuff about Chinese culture I did not know, which makes me think a lot of people have been down on like the tokenism of Ebony and stuff. And I'm not saying Ebony's a token, not at all, but the way Bravo's kind of like pushing Black Lives Matter, this and that. And it makes me think maybe because I know the culture, it seems heavy-handed, but maybe the people that don't know Black culture, Ebony's doing the same thing that Christine's doing to me, where I'm like, oh, I didn't know 8 was a lucky number. Oh, I didn't know they called it. Another Chinese person might be rolling their eyes like, oh my God, we get it. But I didn't know that. So I appreciate it. So it made me think of Ebony in a certain light. Maybe she is educating people about culture in a way that they'd actually appreciate. But you see already they're setting it up for a little bit of competition because they're both type A personalities. And Lisa, another thing about Kristen, Kristen is, I think it's Christine or Kristen, I'll get her name right the next thing. She's an Aquarius. So that Aquarius energy with Sutton and I wonder if the casting people actually are into astrology, because even when they bring somebody in, they try to make sure that they're the same sign. I think they do cross-reference housewives with their astrology, and also the replacements have to be the same sign as the other person. Lisa Vanderpump was a Virgo, Sutton's a Virgo. Denise was an Aquarius, Christine's an Aquarius. You see where I'm going with this? Okay. So anyway, I will say that like there's a very natural unease that comes between Kyle because she feels competitive with Sutton. Sutton's husband is more successful. She's 5'10". She has about and Sutton's very, not Sutton, Christine's very confident, right? So Kyle already competitive streak is going. Kyle's mad competitive. And Lisa Rinna is just acting weird. I think it's because Cancers don't like being around air signs really because they don't know where to hit the emotional button. So Lisa Rinna's like, oh, that's amazing. Oh, really? You know, it was just very awkward. But I love the way Sutton was like, yeah, you chicks are being awkward, but I'm cool. Anyway, I'm going to keep being myself. Typical Aquarius swag. All right. So it's a day of the barbecue. They're getting dressed up. Erika has her whole glam squad. She has kind of like, how did her stylist do it? It was like Barbie gold hooker. She's wearing this fun pop pink thing. She has on from her private collection the jewels. She has on the gold Louis Vuitton. She's doing it. And any other time I would have lived for it. But yo, it now seems obscene because everything I see, I'm like, I know where you got that from. And this is actually low-key obscene. It's actually disgusting, really. Erika shouldn't have done the show this season. It's really, this goes in front of a jury, if this does proceed, if she is indicted for helping, this doesn't look good for her. I would have maybe sat this season out, but I guess at this point, Erika needs some money, right? She definitely, this is, I think, the only money that she can keep. Everything else she has to give back, or they've actually seized at this point. So, you know, but it's, I don't know. It's not fun when I look at it. I'm just counting that up. Like, this jewel necklace looks like it was like $2 million from her private jewelry collection. I wonder if that got seized too. We need somebody that actually did the seizing to take inventory to let us know how much assets were seized from Erika, right? Kyle's there with her glam squad doing her thing. Dorit's getting ready. She's wearing this beautiful, red gown, but you know, the kind that looks like upscale robes. And her son's like, you don't look that good. She's like, why not? He's like, because you got a robe on, right? Kids just don't understand fashion, darling. They get there. Lisa Rinna, actually, I'll say one thing. I think Lisa Rinna is really, really beautiful. I actually think she looks even more beautiful when she pulls her hair back. I wonder if she's Armenian, because she looks Armenian. She looks like who Kris Jenner's surgery is trying to turn her into. I wonder if she is Armenian. I wonder what her surname is. Anyway, the chef's there. There's a bartender. They are going all out. It looks so beautiful. Lisa Rinna comes in this suit that looks so good on her. It's green and blue. It's loud. It's bright, but it's what we needed. Like, I am living for this season. Sutton comes and she's wearing like this fringe beaded thing. Sutton is so eccentric. She is a Virgo, but she dresses like an eccentric Aquarius to me, or an eccentric Gemini for some reason. I don't know. Or even like a really artsy Pisces, but one that's like older. I don't know. Sutton is just hilarious to me. It looks like she looks like she's wearing a lampshade with the fringe and with the flowers printed on the fringe. But you know what? You gotta love Sutton because she brings a great energy. And she's like, can you hear me through my mask? There is, of course, Kathy Hilton is arriving with Christine, and they're like, oh, I'm excited. I can't wait for the food. And this is why you gotta love Beverly Hills. They live in their own bubble. Where Christine's like, I'm an eater. And Kathy's like, I'm an eater too. And Christine's like, you know what? You know how much of an eater I am? Every morning, I have an avocado, I have an egg, and I cover it in a jalapeno pepper. This is your eating. I thought she was about to go in. I was like, that's your eating? That's not even a snack for me. I mean, I know I'm trying to get summertime fine, so maybe I need to get on Sutton's breakfast plan. But I was like, this is your eating. This is your eat. And not Sutton. Why do I keep calling her Sutton? Christine's back thing. I'm like, this is your eating. But whatever. It's Beverly Hills, darling. She gets out. Christine mentions that she feels underdressed. She is wearing a very, very conservative dress. But to me, it's a dress like an 80-year-old would wear. Like, Christine, why do you have that mess on? All black, covered up from head to toe. If you don't you could tell she's married to an old man that likes old woman clothes. Because if you don't take that shit off. But you can also tell, being an Aquarius, right? She went against the flow. That's what Aquariuses do, just to do again. But you could tell she was taking notes where she was like, all right, next time I'm going to step out. But that's one thing you can count on Aquarius. They delight in being against the flow. Now, she did say that everybody's really bright. And one of the reasons she doesn't dress more brightly is because she sees a lot of her older friends trying to dress too young, and it makes her cringe. okay, nice shade. Christine's gonna be fun, but also it lets me know you're into playing like cosplay. There's certain Aquariuses that like to dress up as cosplay. Christine's into cosplay. So in your mind, this is cosplay with a mature woman who's proud of her age wears, but Christine, you're dressed in an outfit that's 20 years too old for you. Yeah, okay, let's move on because Garcelle comes in. Garcelle, the queen, comes in. She's a vision in all pink. She's doing it. I really like her styling. Whoever was her stylist this season, they made sure that she showed out. She always looked nice, but like, it's just, I'm loving the brightness. I'm loving everything, right? Kathy's like, is that Kyle? I think everybody's thinking like Kathy's blind. I think Kathy was throwing sister shade, trying to say that Garcelle wants to be Kyle and is trying to be like Kyle. Because where does Garcelle look like Kyle? Even if you saw the hair, even if you saw this, come on now, Kyle was already there. What? No, that's not true. That's not true. Never mind. But she can't be that blind, right? Even though, no lie, and sometimes Kyle and Garcelle do look the same complexion when Kyle ODs on the self-tanner. So you know what, Kathy? I'm going to let you go. Kyle comes in, and as soon as she walked in, I was like, Kyle is so basic. I don't understand. She has a clothing boutique, and it looks like that was something out of her clothing boutique. She just has the worst style. It's always basic, but there's a ruffle where it shouldn't be, or a fringe where no fringe goes. It's just like, what in the world? It's like when you go into those shops in small towns, and it's like a little thing like Pandora's Closet, and you go in and they have all these clothes, and you walk in and you're like, I would never wear that. And you're just like, how is this store still open? I'll tell you, Taya, how it's still open. Kyle's of the world are keeping it open. She's wearing this pink dress. It's just ill-fitting, fringe everywhere. It's just a mess. Mauricio's like, I guess, but Mauricio never says anything to her, so I guess he doesn't have any style either, because he's dressed like a hobo. No, I'm sorry, a cowboy or whatever. Dorit has her long braid down to her butt, touching, sitting like it's supposed to be. Mauricio's like, can I touch it? Dorit was like, of course you can. I was like, wait, is there going to be Portia William action? And somebody was like, are you okay with this to Dorit's husband? And he was like, of course. Like, she's not into cowboys. He knows what's keeping Dorit, and he's fine. They decide to have fun. The boys go off. They start eating. You know, they're having a girls' night. Rinna's like, bring on the strippers. Little do you know, that was a whole storyline for the lazy producers for Real Housewives of Atlanta, right? You know, Erika's in her confessionals like, you know, we should be, they don't know how to do barbecue. We should be in a yacht off the coast of the Mediterranean, but I'll take it. Erika shouldn't have come back. Again, I used to find her entertaining, but now that I know where the money came from, I'm like, I don't know. She would have been better off telling me she was married to a drug lord, because I'd be like, well, I saw Narcos. Pablo seemed like a good person. But honestly, now that I know that he stole from widows, kids, and handicap, I'm just like, whatever, right? Rinna invites everybody to her Lake Tahoe house. I guess that's going to be the first cast trip. I love the fact that the first scene opened up with an all-cast scene in the first episode. It was a really good time to see the dynamics. And they met individually. Sorry. Rinna is inviting everybody up to Lake Tahoe. That should be fun for those of you guys that are not from California. Lake Tahoe's where everybody goes to rent houses and party in the houses. It's kind of like Montauk in the Northeast, but it's way more fun, better food, better looking people, and better attitudes. I digress, right? Dorit has a beautiful home. The night's going well. Then they break off, right? And Garcelle is drunk off her butt. She still looks beautiful, but you know those times when you have a little bit too much to drink and then your concealer, you can all of a sudden see the makeup sitting on your face because your muscles are relaxed. Garcelle is talking to Sutton, and she is so two sheets to the wind, but like any Haitian woman, she's keeping it together, but you can just tell by the way her makeup's sitting, she is two sheets toward the wind. Sutton's like, yo, be careful, right? And then Garcelle was like, Saggy coming out. Why would she think I trust her? She'd be stupid to believe I trust her. And Sutton was like, oh, okay, fine, you got this, right? And then Lisa is like, you know, I'd rather take the splinters than be bitter. She's still talking that Bel Air, Hollywood, Bel Air, Westview bullshit about Christian or stuff. Man, Lisa, shut up. This is what I mean about cancers being preference aggressive. Mark my words, Rinna is mad at the Saggy for embarrassing her in that scene. And she's mad that her emotional things aren't working. So she feels powerless. And when unevolved cancers feel powerless, they lash out. And even evolved cancers lash out. And you got that Saggy coming head first. But let's see who wins, right? So, moving on. Okay, so anyway, okay, so they're still back at the thing. They're playing, Lisa Rinna is, Garcelle is so over them. She is a Saggy. She is drunk. Her stomach is full and she wants to go home. Everything they do, Rinna and Dorit was like, oh my God, I love you, I love you. And Garcelle was just like, ugh, can we please go, right? She's over it, right? And she's trying her best. And Rinna was like, why don't we say the best thing that happened and the worst thing that happened? And they go around saying their stories, right? Erika was like, oh, when she came home, she was walking with this dread, alone in the halls. Where was Tom? Because they weren't divorced by then. She still referred to him. So where was he? And he hadn't got arrested. And according to her, she didn't know. So where was Tom during the pandemic that you were walking alone through the halls? So much so you had to get on an antidepressant. Something is not adding up. I know I'm extra suspicious, but while she's talking, I'm seeing that diamond necklace on her thing. And I'm like, give me that. That has to go to the damn orphans. You don't get this. You don't get this, Erika. Anyway, that's it, right? Sutton said, no, not Sutton. Sutton said she laid in the bed for 8 weeks because of the unknown. I mean, listen, I wasted a whole year and gained how many pounds messing around with Corona. So whatever, right? Rinna goes and says some self-help shit. And she was like, much like Garcelle. And Garcelle was like, gave her a look like, why is this bitch talking about me? Like literally she perked up and she was like, I am an actress too. And we have to eat what we kill. So it was very, very difficult. And Garcelle was looking at her like, we are not the same. We are not the same. We are not the same. Don't get it twisted. Funny thing about Kathy didn't really say too much. She's more like comic relief. But everybody is kissing her. But there was one scene where Christine was like, in Beverly Hills, you kind of know everybody because she knows their both husbands had done business with Garcelle's ex, right? And Christine's husband, right? And she was like, and if you don't know someone, most likely they're not worth knowing. And she was like, do you know Dorit? The producer asked her, do you know Dorit? And Christine was like, no, I do not know. So Christine is definitely giving that Aqua energy. I do think that she is role playing, but Aquas love role playing. I can't wait until she rolls up her sleeves. I was wondering why her and Sutton had beef, but they showed them going to Lake Tahoe in the preview. Lisa's Lake Tahoe house is amazing. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is so aspirational. There's so much wealth out there, but fun wealth. Usually you see wealth and it looks old and stodgy. That's like that's like California wealth. It's so fun. I remember if you walk into people in the Northeast, the wealth in the Berkshires, and you're in there and you're like, I don't want to live here. This is corny. There's like a bear in it. But you go to California wealth and you're like, yeah, this is living. I like the aesthetic. I like the aesthetic. I literally look around and I'm like, if I had 10 million, I totally would have done that with my 10 million. Good style, good style. Anyway, her lake house is great. And I see where the beef starts. She tries to have a conversation about race and talk about being a minority. And then Sutton interrupts her and starts mansplaining or Karen-splaining about, and Sutton's looking at her, not Sutton, Sutton over interrupts Christine. Why do I keep mixing up Sutton and Christine? I almost feel like their names should be intermixed. She should be, I don't know, it's weird. I'm gonna have to look into that. Maybe I'll do a reading on them. Anyway, she overtalks her and starts Karen-splaining about racism and this and that and blah, 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 blah. And Christine's looking at her like, are you out of your mind? So we're going to see the beginning of their beef, but Garcelle is like a very Sagittarian. She is an island. She has her allies. People are going to her strength. And I'm waiting to see how Rinna and Kyle actually try to dethrone her. But I don't know, a Haitian woman that is a Saggy, that has been in Hollywood for how many years swimming with sharks? good luck. Good luck. That's all I'm saying. All right, you guys, if you like that video, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and I will see you later. Bye.